Hello and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. My name is Vanessa. This is Nessa CX Beauty, and today we are going to be swatching, doing 3 looks, and reviewing the brand new Circus Tent eyeshadow palette by Laroc Cosmetics. This brand is from the UK, and this is my first experience with the brand. So you open her up. Wow! There's a mirror, 35 eyeshadows, and then 2 highlighters. So look at that color story. Oh my lord. Now this palette was, compared to the Stacey Marie palette that I'll be posting right here. I do not own that one, but I definitely do see the similarities. I would be curious to see somebody do a side-by-side review with both palettes to see how they compare, but I don't have that one, so video idea for whoever does. But this palette retails for £34.99 sterling, and that means I paid around $46.64 for the palette, and I think there was like $10 shipping, so I paid like 50 something bucks in total for this eyeshadow palette. And y'all, it's from the UK and we're in COVID times, so it took a month to get to me. But if you're interested to see how this palette performs, I will swatch out every single shade, all 35 shades, and then also provide a 3 looks 1 palette with this. And then at the end, I'm going to share my final thoughts. So if you're interested in seeing that, just continue watching. Now I know this is going to be a long video, so I do have timestamps down below for all 3 looks and swatches and everything. So you can refer down below in the description box for the timestamps. Starting off with the swatches, we're going to go into the first row. And y'all, this is the whole entire first row swatched out. Onto the second row. And this is the second row swatched out. Onto the third row. This is the third row. Dragon, definitely. I think that was my fault, but it looks super streaky. Going into the fourth row. And this is the whole fourth row. On to the fifth and final row. And this is the fifth and final row. And now I'm just gonna swatch into both of the highlighters. And those are right there. Alright y'all, so those were the swatches. To be honest, completely honest, these swatches for this eyeshadow palette were not that great. Literally not good at all. A lot of them seem to be dry, patchy on the, arm. But it might surprise you. So we're gonna head into the 3 looks. Again, there are timestamps below. I did use this palette on my eyes today. I used the highlighter on the lid, and in every single look I do use the highlighter on my cheeks and my nose, even though I don't quite say it, just so y'all can see how the highlighters do perform in this palette. But without further ado, we're gonna head into the 3 looks. Alright, for the first look, we're going to start off into Chaos with my Morphe M321, and we're going to pack that all over the crease, tapping that in and not blending it out. As y'all can see, the blue is very, very pigmented. Next up, we're going to head into the shade Funhouse with the Morphe JS9 brush. We're just going to tap this in to Chaos, the blue that we just laid down, and blend this up so we have some green gradient going on with the blue. And we're just going to tap it in, and then we're going to eventually just buff it around in circles so we can blend the shades out and not have harsh lines. Next up, we're going to dig into Bananas with my Morphe JS9 brush, and we're going to do the same thing that we just did with Funhouse, blending it into Funhouse and outwards so we get a nice green to yellow gradient. Now we're going to cut that crease with the P. Louise Eye Base and the Olimar packing brush from the Ojito set. And now to add some depth, we're going to go into Take a Bow with my Morphe M513 brush, and we're just going to put this on the outer V. Now for my favorite part, we're going to go into shimmers, heading into Joker with my ABH packing brush and putting this on the inner half of the lid. Such a beautiful green. And then we're going to dig into the shade Insane, which is a blue shimmer. It's a smushy formula, so I didn't really like this shade, but eventually it did pack up to a nice opacity. The Joker shade was not a smushy shimmer, but the Insane shade is kind of like a Super Shock shadow, and I'm not the biggest fan of that formula. And y'all, this is the first look completed. It is a nice summery blue-green look. And now we're gonna head into look numero dos. Alright, so starting off for look number 2, we're gonna go into Trapeze with my Morphe M321. And we're gonna pack this all over the lid, creating a semicircle. For this look, I did want to do a halo cut crease. Now we're going to head into the shade Funky with my Morphe JS9 brush, and we are going to blend out Trapeze so we have a nice gradient between the purple and the pink. And then to create a further blend, we're going to go into Euphoria with my Morphe M507 and just blend these 2 shades outwards. Alright, and now for the depth, we're going to go into Take a Bow with my Morphe M321. And we're just going to put this on both sides, the outer V and the inner V, and then we're going to connect it all the way through to the crease. Okay, so we're going to cut our crease again with the P. Louise Eye Base, but this time we're focusing only on the center of the lid because I did want this to be a halo cut crease. And now we're going to head into Ringmaster with my ABH packing brush, and we're just going to put this on both sides of the lid. On the center of the lid, I did want to head into Vanishing Act, so that's what I tried to do. But y'all, this shade was my least favorite shade in this palette. It was crumbling up. It was one of those Super Shock shadow formulations, and I just couldn't do it. So I went back into Ringmaster, packed that all over the lid, and then put a tiny bit of Vanishing Act on top of that.
and it kind of made it look better. I just went in to take a bow again with a blending brush and just, blended out those harsh lines so it looks seamless between the mattes and the shimmers. And y'all, this is look number 2. It's definitely not my favorite out of the 3 looks that I did for this video, but it is still very, very pretty. It is the one that I had the most issues with just because of Vanishing Act. But on to look number 3. Okay, so starting off look number 3, we're heading into Bloody Mary mixed with Top Hat so we can have a nice red shade. But this came out more burgundy than I would have liked it to be. I'm just swooping this out, trying to shape out my eye look for this one. To try to get it a little bit more red, I went into Tent with my Morphe M506 and I tried to blend this into the Bloody Mary shade. It worked a little bit and it got it a little bit more red, but it still wasn't as red as I would have liked it to be. Next up, I'm heading into Giggles with my Morphe M506 brush, and I'm just blending the red upwards and outwards so we can have a nice transition from red to orange. Then heading into Bananas with my Morphe M507 and doing the same thing so we can have a transition from orange to yellow, and it looks like a little flame right now. I am all about this gradient. Next up, using our P. Louise eye base, we're going to cut our crease, and this crease is going to be swooped out following the shape of the eyeshadow. And y'all, I love these types of looks. They're definitely not for every day, but the crispness of this cut was so beautiful. Now for the shimmers, we're going to go into Dirty Circus with my ABH packing brush, and we're going to put this on the first half of the cut crease. This gold took a little bit to build up, but when built up, it was actually really beautiful. Next up, we're heading into Fire Breather with the ABH packing brush, and this orange shade did not play. It was so gorgeous, and I just filled the rest of the crease with this shade. And y'all, this is look number 3. This look is definitely my favorite out of the 3. All of my favorite shades are used up in here, and I just think it's a beautiful eye look.
Alright y'all, so those were my 3 looks. Please comment down below which one was your favorite. In ranking order for me, the third one is my favorite, the first one is my second favorite, and the second one is my least favorite. They're all great in my eyes. Of course, I'm biased because I'm me. Y'all could think I suck. It's okay. I don't really mind, but that's my ranking order for all 3 of them. And in each one, I definitely did want to showcase a different side of the palette. The first one, I wanted to focus on the greens and blues. The second one, I wanted to focus on the pinks and purples. And then on the third one, I wanted to focus on the orange, red, yellow, and gold portion. And then today I did just want to do something pretty wearable, even though it wasn't filmed, and use the highlighter on my eyes to just see how that worked out. And it worked out pretty fine for me. Overall, this palette was a good experience. The negatives about it, the squishy shimmers, the Vanishing Act, that one was a crap shadow. The Insane shade, the blue one that I used in the beginning, it worked, but I had to pack it up heavily with a brush. And you know, it's just not my favorite type of shadow. If you are into the more Super Shock shadowy shades, then those shades might be your cup of tea. But personally, for me, I just wish companies would tell me when they say shimmers and metallics that I'm paying for squishy shades, because that could change my perception on a palette. Do I regret buying this palette? No. Do I think it's like the greatest palette ever? Hell no. but you know, I waited a month for it. I was excited for it, and then after a while the excitement left. But as soon as I opened it up again, I kid you not, the excitement came back. So I definitely don't regret purchasing this palette. And after spending this week with this eyeshadow palette, I definitely have grown in admiration towards it. Because yes, it is a rainbow palette, but I can do so many things with this. And I am very appreciative of the layout. The layout of all of the eyeshadows make it so easy to create looks. And some palettes I open up and they're like color everywhere with no color story to it, no rhyme or reason to it. But this one definitely gave you a good layout. Like you could put all of these shades together and all of these shades together. And I really do appreciate that from a palette. It wasn't intimidating. It was good quality. The mattes are perfection in this palette. The mattes, the powder shimmers, amazing. The squishy shimmers, and the one press glitter I ain't ever gonna use. That shit feels like jello. Don't know why that shade was put in. I definitely just don't need that in this eyeshadow palette. But overall, I want to say I paid what, like $50 something for this. Could I have gone without paying that money? Probably. But do I regret it? No. And now that I have this palette, I definitely will use it. Like I said, I've been using it for the past 5 days. But the one other like critique that I have of it is that I would have liked at least one brown shade. There are so many palettes that I just don't buy because they have a ton of brown shades, but this one has 0. So I think that's the world trying to tell me something, because I always critique the crap out of palettes that have too many browns, and this one has 0 browns. So I would have liked at least one deep brown shade, and that's it. That's all I need. You could have replaced the shimmer, the squishy shimmers, with those, or you could have replaced that weird jello glitter shade with one of those. But that's about everything I have for y'all. The highlighters are great, the palette's great, it's not bad, it's not my favorite, and I'm gonna just stop talking because if I keep on, this video is gonna last forever and I already know that it's long. So have a great day or night wherever you are in the world, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.